Hello viewers, in this video I am going to discuss about serine proteases. So now first let's discuss what are proteases. Proteases, also called as proteolytic enzymes, are enzymes that breaks the peptide bond that links amino acids together in proteins. We all know that the proteins are the polymers of amino acids. So large number of amino acid molecules are present in proteins and they are linked together through the peptide bond. And these proteolytic enzymes or proteases cleave that peptide bond. So they are examples of hydrolases, enzymes that break a chemical bond by the addition of a water molecule. So this is a general formula for a protein molecule. This indicates the long chain on both the sides. This is the peptide bond, and this gets hydrolyzed to give this bond gets cleaved and two fragments are obtained. Now, a simple peptide bond between two amino acids in water at room temperature has a half-life of several years. These are the two amino acids. Different amino acids are there. I have taken the general formula. And this get hydrolyzed. This bond get cleaved to give the mixture of amino acids. So the reaction is very, very slow. Now, what is the need to break a peptide bond? Proteins ingested in the diet must be broken down into the small peptides and amino acids for absorption in the gut. Not only this, proteins that have served their purpose must be degraded into their constituent amino acids so that they can be recycled for the synthesis of new proteins and enzymes. Not only this, the proteolytic cleavage is also required, or you can say proteolytic reactions are also required to regulate the activity of certain enzymes and proteins. So that means it is very important to break a peptide bond. But such hydrolysis reactions are very, very slow. Now, what is the reason for their slow reactivity? The slow reactivity can be explained by the resonating structures of a peptide bond. So this is a peptide bond. The lone pair of electrons available on the nitrogen is in conjugation with this pi bond. So the lone pair of electrons shifts here and the pi electrons moves towards oxygen, and therefore this is single bond. O will have negative charge, double bond, and nitrogen will have positive charge. So these two are the resonating structures. Now due to the resonance, there is a double bond character between carbon and nitrogen. So this bond becomes strong, and this is the bond which is cleaved during the peptide cleavage. And if this bond becomes strong, then the rate of reaction will decrease. Not only this, the electrophilicity of this carbonyl carbon is also reduced. Now, what is the reaction which is taking place is that the water is acting as a nucleophile and it attacks at this electrophilic carbonyl carbon during the hydrolysis reaction. Now, since this carbon is now less reactive, why it is less reactive? Or why you can say why the carbonyl carbon is electrophilic in nature, that the pi electron density move towards oxygen and therefore create a positive charge on the carbon. The positive charge on this carbon is reduced as the lone pair of electrons on the nitrogen is moving towards the carbon, and therefore the electrophilicity of this carbonyl carbon is reduced. So there are two reasons for the low, or you can say the slow hydrolysis reactions. Number one, the strength of this CN bond, the carbon-nitrogen bond becomes strong, and number two, this carbonyl carbon become less electrophilic. So as the carbonyl carbon atom is less electrophilic and so less susceptible to nucleophilic attack, thus to promote peptide bond cleavage, an enzyme must facilitate nucleophilic attack at this unreactive carbonyl group. Okay, so although the half-life of a simple peptide bond is several years, yet the protein-rich foods can be completely separated into amino acid within hours in our digestive system. When we are having the protein-rich food, then it completely, you can say, digested or separated into amino acid within hours. So thanks to the enzymes, serine proteases, which helps in the digestion of the protein-rich foods. Okay, so now there are two general types of proteases. One is endoproteases, second is exoproteases. And what are endoproteases? They are those proteases which cleave a specific peptide bond within the protein molecule. Specific. You know that it is not like the case that in the endoproteases will cleave all the peptide bonds present in the protein molecule. No, the endoprotease will cleave specific peptide bonds. Okay, but it is cleaving the peptide bond which is present within the protein molecule, inside the protein molecule, while the exoproteases are those proteases which cleave only terminal amino acid residues. We all know that the protein is a long chain of amino acid. Large number of amino acids are present. So the amino acid which is having free amino group is called N-terminal, and which is having free carboxyl group is called C-terminal. So they are the terminal amino acids. So exoproteases can cleave only the terminal amino acid residues. So this is the difference between endoproteases and exoproteases, that the endoproteases can cleave the specific, or they cleave the specific peptide bonds within the protein, while the exoproteases cleave only the terminal amino acid residues. Now, a number of proteolytic enzymes participate in the breakdown of proteins in the digestive systems of mammals and other organisms. They are specific for certain amino acids and can hydrolyze those amino acids on the carboxyl or amino side of the peptide bond. So I have discussed it just now that the proteolytic enzymes, they are highly specific in nature and they hydrolyze the peptide bond only at the specific positions. Okay. Over 1/3 of all known proteolytic enzymes are serine proteases. What are serine proteases? Serine proteases are widely distributed in nature and are involved in large number of biological processes. For example, they digest our food, help our blood to clot, fight infections, etc. Okay. So serine proteases, they are endopeptidases. Endopeptidases means it cleaves protein chain at internal peptide bonds adjacent to particular type of amino acid. This we have discussed just now. And what is serine? In serine proteases, serine serves as the nucleophilic amino acid at the enzyme's active site. So at the active site of the enzyme, serine is present, which is behaving as a nucleophile. Okay, electrophile is the carbonyl carbon, while the nucleophile is the serine amino acid. So serine amino acid is acting as a nucleophilic amino acid, and hence the name serine proteases. There are three well-known serine proteases. They are trypsin, chymotrypsin, and elastase. These are the digestive enzymes capable of cutting peptide bonds in a wide range of proteins. So in the digestive system, trypsin, chymotrypsin, and elastase work as a team. All the three are endopeptidases and serine proteases. Each has its own selectivity, that is, they cleave proteins at different structure points. So this we have discussed, that each enzyme is specific in nature, that it cleaves it carried out the enzymatic reaction for a specific. We have discussed the specificity of the enzymes also. So it is highly specific in nature. Okay. So in the trypsin, chymotrypsin, elastase also, they have their own selectivity. That means if the trypsin cleaves the peptide bond where the amino acid is, these are the amino acids which are present, then chymotrypsin will cleave at the another amino acid. So therefore they have their own selectivity. They have very strong structural similarity. They use the same mechanism for the cleavage. It mechanism that very much resembles the mechanism for acid catalyzed hydrolysis of an amide. We all know that the hydrolysis of amide in presence of the acid as a catalyst. So similar mechanism is used by all the three enzymes which are serine proteases. Similar mechanism is used for the hydrolysis of the peptide bond. So this is the structure of all the three. Trypsin is in yellow in color, chymotrypsin is grayish blue, and elastase is green. So these are the backbones of all the three enzymes. And so you can see their structure are similar, and these are the three amino acids which are in the red color. These three amino acids actually do the catalysis. So actually the these enzymes at the active site, these three amino acids are present. This is the imidazole ring. This is histidine. In histidine, imidazole ring is present as a side chain. This is aspartic acid. Aspartic acid is an acidic amino acid, so it is having COH group at the side chain. And since we are talking about the neutral pH or pH 7, and therefore aspartic acid is present as the asparate ion, and this is serine. Okay, so these are the three amino acids which are present at the catalysis site. These are called catalytic triad. So it is a catalytic triad, and in the catalytic triad, as I told you, histidine, asparate and serine molecules, amino acids are present. 57, 102 and 195 is the number of the position of the amino acid. That means we know that in the protein, the primary structure, if we write down the sequence of amino acid starting with the N-terminal amino acid is numbered as 1. Then histidine is present at the 57th position, asparate at 102 and serine at 195. So this is the position of the amino acids. Residues, they come together in the folded structure, which is essential for the active site catalysis. Okay, so this is the catalytic triad. So we know that 57, 102, 195, all these in the primary structure, these amino acids are far apart. They are not adjacent, they are far apart. But in the three-dimensional structure, during the, or in the, you can say the tertiary structure, during the twisting, bending and folding, so in the three-dimensional structure, they come in the close proximity. And this triad is essential for the active site catalysis. Now this rearrangement or this arrangement of the catalytic triad leads to the high reactivity of serine 195. Now, how does this arrangement of residues lead to high reactivity of serine 195? To check this, you can watch my video on the mechanism of trypsin action. Okay, so trypsin, chymotrypsin and elastase, all these three serine proteases have the same three catalytic residues at the active site, histidine 57, asparate 102 and serine 195. That means the catalytic triad is same in all the three cases. They have the same mechanism of catalysis. So mechanism is same in all the three, but they have one important difference, that is the shape and nature of the pocket at the active site that binds the side chain of amino acid residue undergoing hydrolysis. Now here you have to take one thing into your account, and that is very, very important, is that here both the enzyme and the substrate are protein molecules. Yes, enzymes are the globular proteins and proteins are the polymers of amino acids. So in enzymes also amino acids are present. While here we are talking about the hydrolysis of the peptide bond. Peptide bonds are present in proteins. So here both the enzyme and the substrate are protein molecules. Okay, so we have to be slightly cautious while talking about that. We are talking about the amino acid of substrate or that of the enzyme. Here this we have seen that these are the amino acids which are present at the active site of the enzyme. So these are the amino acids of the enzyme. While here we are talking about the amino acid which are present on the in the protein molecule. Okay, so what is the difference is that at the active site of the enzyme there is a pocket that is called S1 pocket or the binding pocket, and depending upon the shape and the nature of that binding pocket, the side chain of the amino acid residue. So in the protein, the amino acids are present, and the side chain of the amino acid protein residue which is binds to this active site which is undergoing hydrolysis. So the nature of the pocket is different in this case. In all the three, the nature of pocket is different, and this results in their different specificities. Okay, so now what is the role of the enzyme? Enzyme is a catalyst in nature. So it is having the catalytic power, and the catalytic power of the serine proteases is due to the catalytic triad. Okay, so that catalytic triad where histidine, serine and aspartate amino acid residues are present. So all the three serine proteases, trypsin, chymotrypsin and elastase, they have the catalytic power due to this catalytic triad. Okay, and all of them are highly specific in nature. The specificity of these serine proteases, that is their substrate selection, is due to the shape and the nature of the active site. Okay, the shape and nature of the enzyme S1 pocket, that is binding pocket at the active site that binds the side chain of the amino acid residue of the proteins which is undergoing hydrolysis. Okay, so this gives serine proteases their different specificities. So what is different in each of serine proteases is the specificity of their pockets. Now let's discuss the binding pocket in all the three. So first the binding pocket in trypsin. So this is the binding pocket, S1 pocket of trypsin. As you can see, the pocket is narrow with a negatively charged aspartate ion. And this aspartate ion is 189, aspartate 189. Okay, and that means this aspartate molecule, the ion is present at 189th position and it is present at the bottom of the pocket. So the negatively charged bottom. So the bottom is having the negative charge. So it is narrow with negative charge at the bottom and therefore it binds, this pocket can bind with long positively charged amino acid residues. A long positively charged amino side chain residues are lysine and arginine. They are the basic amino acids. What are basic amino acids? In each amino acid, an amino group is present and a carboxylic group is present. Basic amino acids are those amino acids where more than one NH2 group is present. Okay, so this NH2 group, this is COS, so this exists as deuterion, and this NH2, extra NH2 is present, which is present as the ammonium ion. Okay, so this is the long chain with the positive charge. Similarly, in arginine, this is a long chain and there is a positive charge. So both these basic amino acids have positive charge and they have the long chain and therefore they can easily fit into this narrow negatively charged bottom. And that's why trypsin cleaves the peptide bonds on the carboxyl side of lysine and arginine residues. Okay, now the binding pocket in chymotrypsin. This is binding pocket of chymotrypsin, S1 pocket. As you can see, this is broad and non-polar. This is broad and since it is lined with the hydrophobic amino acid, so it is non-polar in nature. So it cleaves on the carboxyl side of bulky hydrophobic group. Since it is broad, so bulky group can fit into it very well, and since these sides, this is lined with the hydrophobic amino acids and therefore the amino acid should also be hydrophobic in nature. The side chain of the amino acid we are talking about. That is amino acid with aromatic rings. We know that aromatic rings are non-polar and they are bulky. So an amino acid with aromatic rings can fit well into it. And these are the three amino acids, phenylalanine, tyrosine and tryptophan, which can easily fit into this pocket because of the presence of this aromatic ring in all the three cases. So they are bulky and hydrophobic in nature. And hence the chymotrypsin cleaves on the carboxyl side of phenylalanine, tyrosine and tryptophan. Now the binding pocket in elastase. This is the binding pocket of elastase. So S1 pocket. Now here the valine 216 and threonine 226, the position of these amino acids, they block off the majority of the pocket because they are positioned exactly opposite to each other. So you can see it blocked the pocket. Since the pocket is blocked, so hence now this pocket becomes shallow. Hence only small amino acids can fit into the pocket. So these are the few examples of the amino acids, the small amino acids, glycine, alanine, valine, which can fit into this shallow pocket of the elastase. And hence, elastase hydrolyzes peptide bonds on the carboxyl side of small amino acids. So now the summary of the binding pockets. So this is narrow pocket with negatively charged bottom. This is for trypsin. This pocket, broad and nonpolar, chymotrypsin. Pocket, shallow in nature because of the blocking of the pocket by valine and threonine, and therefore shallow pocket, and hence this is elastase. So now the summary in the tabular form for trypsin, chymotrypsin, elastase. So trypsin, the stereochemistry of the active site is that it is having deep binding pocket with negatively charged aspartate at the bottom, and hence amino acids with long basic side chains can bind to it. And the examples of such amino acids are lysine, arginine. Okay, then chymotrypsin. In chymotrypsin, the binding pocket not as deep as trypsin, but slightly wider and lined with non-polar amino acids. And therefore, amino acids with aromatic rings can bind to it. Phenylalanine, tryptophan, or tyrosine is the list of the amino acids which can be cleaved at the carboxyl side by chymotrypsin. And the last, elastase, a very shallow binding pocket. So amino acid with the small side chains can fit into it, can bind to it, and examples are glycine and alanine. Now let's see an example of a peptide by hydrolysis by trypsin, chymotrypsin, elastase one by one. So first is trypsin. Trypsin cleaves, we have seen that the trypsin cleaves the peptide bond in the carboxyl group as a part of basic amino acid lysine and arginine. So let's say this is the peptide. In this peptide, we have to see lysine and arginine. Yes, lysine is present. So the carboxyl side of lysine is this. This is the carboxyl side. So what will trypsin do? It will cleave this peptide bond, the one where the lysine is present at the carboxyl side. So carboxyl side, lysine. So cleavage here, and this leads to lysine COH and NH2. So two fragments of the peptide. Then chymotrypsin. Chymotrypsin cleaves the peptide bond in which the carboxyl group is a part of phenylalanine, tyrosine, and tryptophan. So this is a peptide. Now it is chymotrypsin. So we have to see which of the three amino acid is present. All of them can be present. One can be present. Two can be present. Here we can see the phenylalanine is present. So carboxyl side of phenylalanine will be cleaved by the chymotrypsin, and therefore it leads to this phenyl with COH and NH2 here. So the cleavage at this point. And now the last, elastase. So elastase cleaves the peptide bond in which the carboxyl group is a part of small and hydrophobic amino acids, glycine, valine, alanine, etc. So this is the peptide. Now in this peptide, we have to find out glycine, valine, and alanine. Yes, it's there, glycine and alanine, both of them are present here. But alanine is present already at the C site, at the C terminal, and therefore it cannot be cleaved, while the glycine carboxyl side is cleaved by the elastase to give the free glycine and the remaining peptide. So I hope the serine proteases is clear to everyone. And now to understand the mechanism of these enzymes, you can watch my video on mechanism of trypsin action. Thanks for watching.